Hey, SE Historian here. Today I have one of the most special pieces I've ever had the opportunity to produce for you all. An exclusive one-on-one interview with Frost Giant CEO, Tim Morten. If you enjoy what I do on this channel and want to see more, remember to subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment if you have something to say. Thanks and enjoy My Word with Tim Morten. So, Tim Morten, thanks so much for taking the time today, man. How's everything going?
Things are going well. Yeah, thank you for coming out and having the conversation.
Of course. Yeah, my pleasure. So one thing I'm kind of wondering is, why do you think you ended up in the gaming industry?
I really didn't want to have a career that was just about computer science. Like graduated college with a computer science degree, but I had grown up playing games. And at that point in time, there was a lot of talk about interactive television, and it was kind of the expectation that interactive TV was going to be the next big thing. So when I got out of college, I interviewed at some places like Time Warner Interactive that were positioning themselves to get involved in that. And I saw an ad in the classifieds that Activision was looking for programmers. I was like, wow, like I could go work on games. This sounds amazing. So I didn't have any experience. I was just out of college, but I figured, what the heck, I would apply. And I went out, did the interview, and somehow managed to get an offer. So that's the origin story.
Awesome. That's definitely really interesting how it seems like the public perception of what's going to be the next big thing never actually lines up with what the next big thing is going to be in terms of technology.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that, and somewhat ironic, right, that your career started with Activision and then, sort of looped back into, being connected to Activision again later on. What happened in your career sort of between Activision and joining Blizzard later on?
I was fortunate to work at a number of other great companies and also to have one other experience building an independent studio. So right after my initial time at Activision working on things like MechWarrior 2 and Return to Zork, I had a chance to work with some other folks who I had met at Activision at an independent studio that did games under contract for publishers. And so we did some Transformers games, some James Bond games, a Star Wars game, a lot of licensed products. And that was a really wonderful learning experience just about what it's like to be at an independent studio and to work on all of these big licenses with different licensors like, Hasbro or Lucas, et cetera. So after that, I went on to work at Electronic Arts for a little while on a Command & Conquer game. And that one, unfortunately, didn't wind up going to market, but really was my first experience working on real-time strategy and showed to me how much fun it is to build RTS games as well as play RTS games, because I certainly loved playing them from the early days. I spent a little bit of time working on God of War at Sony, which is such a great franchise and such a different kind of game. And then, finally landed at Blizzard.
Wow, you've had your hands in a lot of awesome and prestigious sort of pots there. I didn't even know the full extensiveness of that, so that's really cool to hear. So what are you most proud of during your tenure with Blizzard?
I came in when the team was already working on Legacy of the Void, the final expansion for Starcraft 2. And I was already a Starcraft fan at that point, just super excited to get to work on a game that I already loved. That's such a rare thing to have happen in a career. Legacy of the Void at that point was very different from how we finally delivered it. And so I was really happy to be a part of helping to steer that vision and helping to structure that team in a way that we could really send StarCraft 2's last expansion off in a big way. And it very much was a result of the whole team's effort, but I was just proud to be part of that team.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think Legacy, of course, was like pretty much a resounding success. The introduction of some game modes that ended up being, super significant. So it must be great to have been a part of all that.
Yeah, to feel like, there was some opportunity to be a part of maybe taking what existed when I was there and help, work with the team to get it to the point that it ultimately shipped at. We completely wound up redoing the front end in a lot of ways. We put effort into the cooperative modes that hadn't existed before in the prior two expansions, and really tried to deliver on the conclusion to the story arc. And obviously that story had been conceived before, but just the details of bringing it to life, and also all the things that we did with Spear of Dune and the story mode, there was just so much work that went into Void. It was really great to see it all come together.
Yeah. So obviously towards the end of your tenure with Blizzard, there was a kind of a mass exodus of talent. What do you think was the catalyst for that?
There was a moment where Mike Morhaime, who was obviously one of the founders and had been leading the company, decided to exit. And I think that was pivotal, just in terms of feeling like there was a changing of the guard happening. I know for me, that was a sad day, really, that Mike had been such an inspirational figure to so many of us, and certainly a great supporter of Starcraft. So yeah, I think that contributed to it. And, I think also the industry as a whole was reaching a period where it was possible for teams to strike out independently and start their own companies. And we saw that happen with Bonfire. We saw that happen with Second Dinner. So yeah, a combination of cultural change, kind of exemplified by Mike's departure, and also this emerging ecosystem of independent studios.
That makes sense. I guess when there's so much talent, eventually some of them are going to branch out and sort of, lead their own path. So what do you think overall made StarCraft 2 such a resounding success as it was?
Part of the magic of StarCraft 2, to me, is just the creativity that went into building the story and the universe, combined with the level of polish and quality that Blizzard brought to that. There are so few games out there that bring both of those two things together, I think, in any genre. Certainly there are other great games out there, but StarCraft is up there for having accomplished those things.
For sure. What elements of StarCraft 2, either as a game or in the community around it, do you hope to see in Stormgate?
We're really trying to stay true to the things that we love and that we believe the community loves about Blizzard RTS with Stormgate. To be fair, we have influences from the Warcraft RTS series as well as the Starcraft RTS series in Stormgate, because we have team members who worked on both. But yeah, I would start by saying that RTS has a very distinct set of mechanics, from resource collection to base building and army building, to managing those units in combat. Just those combination of game mechanics that define RTS, we're really trying to carry forward. And I think there are other genres that have been offshoots of RTS, whether it's like tower defense or MOBA, that have kind of fundamentally modified the formula. And those are also great genres, but we're really trying to stay true to that core. At the same time, in terms of things to carry forward, Blizzard has this great heritage of really iterating to the point that what they deliver feels very high quality and very polished. That's something that is important to us, to be proud of what we work on and to feel like we're delivering that same kind of quality. So that's definitely an element that we're trying to carry forward. And just that great storytelling and world building that Blizzard was so great at. We're really trying to tap some of the same talent that we worked with on Starcraft and achieve that same level of immersion for players.
Those sound like awesome goals. With a free-to-play model, how do you plan on measuring success?
The biggest thing for us will be the sentiment of our people really enjoying what we built, how many players come in and experience what we built. We work very hard on every game we work on. So for us, it's rewarding when a lot of people get to experience what we build. And one measure of that that's common these days is monthly active users. So we hope to see some really good just monthly active user counts.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you put a lot of effort into it. You want a lot of people to enjoy it. So after the release of Stormgate and that game and community have been established, what genre do you think Frost Giant's next project could be in, like conceptually?
I have a feeling if you surveyed the team that you would probably get a different answer from every single person. So lots of ideas there, but we don't have a particular bias towards any one genre yet.
Do you think future games would take place in the same universe as Stormgate?
We'd love to explore that, but we also have other universe ideas. So it's really an open future on that front.
Makes sense. Kind of focus on the here and now. So as an organization, you took quite a sizable investment from Kakao Games. Does that mean that South Korea is going to be a significant point of focus for Stormgate?
I think with or without Kakao, South Korea would have been a really important community for us. South Korea and RTS have such a long history together, and there is such an incredible level of skill of gamers in South Korea in general, but particularly in RTS. We were just really grateful to have Kakao approach us about getting involved with Frost Giant and with Stormgate, and it felt like a very natural partnership because of that history.
For sure. Yeah, no, it seems like an awesome partner to have in that market. So what do you think Frost Giant and Stormgate could do to attract fans from the Brood War community?
I think one of the things that stands out about the Brood War community is the heritage around map design as a mechanism for balancing the game. And so I think that's something that we're consciously thinking about. We've gotten a lot of feedback about other aspects of Brood War, like just the impact of the sounds is something that's come up recently that we're trying to be very intentional about living up to. You get into a lot of details about game mechanics. And I think that's an area where there will always be subjective debate, but we are at least trying to be conscious in the design decisions that we make around, what should the pathfinding work like, how should unit separation work on the map, just a lot of the details that go into the feel of the game. Last but not least, I think Brood War had some really wonderful custom game modes, like Big Game Hunters, as an example. And so we're looking at those and just thinking about, in the context of building a new RTS, what are influences that we might be able to take there.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think, it's, you don't want to like copy anything, but there's so much greatness, and it's, you got to figure out how to mold in some of that to what you're doing now. And it sounds like a pretty comprehensive plan. So are you actively sort of putting together plans for esports around Stormgate?
We are, and we're super grateful to have Trevor Houston and Matt Weber, who both have a lot of experience with esports, both on Starcraft and other games, helping us both formulate our strategy and set up the execution of that.
Do you think it's better to host a first-party tournament like WCS or to let independent organizers create the esports scene?
I think the best esports are created in partnership with the community, and so it's really important for grassroots tournament organizers to play a prominent role. At the same time, I think if there's no organization behind it, things can get messy, and that can make it difficult for the players who participate in the esports. So we're really trying to strike a good balance and form a very genuine partnership with the community in even formulating the plans for Stormgate's esports. But definitely outside tournament organizers are going to play a big role in helping us build up the scene for Stormgate.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of both. It seems like the right approach. So from what I've heard from your staff, you're a very boots on the ground kind of CEO. From putting together your own desk to taking on video production responsibilities. Do you think that's why you were able to attract such an all-star roster of talent for Frost Giant?
I want to believe that it's a combination of passion for RTS and just an appreciation for the culture that we had on the Starcraft team, and that we're trying to continue to evolve and make great here at Stormgate. That's brought everybody here together. We do have a core of folks who came off of Starcraft, but we've also got a game director who was from the Warcraft 3 team, and then people who have joined not just from other Blizzard teams like Overwatch and Diablo, but also folks who have joined from completely other companies like Riot or Electronic Arts. So I look at this group, and the thing that seems to be the common thread is just that people are really mission driven around building a great new real-time strategy game. Like, everybody here has a deep love for a particular RTS game, and it's a lot of Starcraft, it's a lot of Warcraft, but there are folks here who are like Company of Heroes fans or CNC fans, Age of Empires fans. So all of those influences get mixed in, even though there's kind of that strong foundation of Starcraft and Warcraft as well.
Well, that's about all I had for you. So thanks so much for taking the time. This was awesome. I really think you gave some great insight as to the direction of the company. Any closing words?
I would just want to say thank you to you and to your audience for continuing to carry the torch for Starcraft, which is a game that I will always love and always play. And I hope Stormgate turns out to be a great game that entire audience also enjoys.
Well, I think that about does it. So just to remember, if you like this piece, to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.